Hey YouTube, welcome back to my series Behind the Meta, and this time we are looking at Sableye, who I will go on the record and say is always underranked on PvPoke for how strong it is. And the reason it's underranked is because on PvPoke, the way it works is that it's a one shield scenario starting with even energy. And a lot of the time, that's not the case at how you would use Sableye. So I got actually a couple battles here that I'll show at the end. I'll do all my analysis like I normally do. And then at the end, I will go over a couple battles to show you like how I would use it. One says a safe swap and one says like a closer even. So we're gonna go over the analysis like I always do. Look at it. It's all this how talk about it in the early seasons and where it is now, and it's always played a very similar role. Even though you see the Zoomer lost, that can be flipped, and I'm gonna go over that as well. So, Sableye. If you watched my video on Azumarill, I went over Pokemon that you made back in the day that were not powered up as much as they are now. So in that I actually have three Medis, but I have a Medi that's a level 40, I have an Azumarill that's a level 38.5, and I have a Sableye which is level 40. And that is the thing. So back in the day, you wanted to use these Pokemon, you built them up as best as you could. And even though they were underpowered, like I think my Sableye got to like 14 something, it was still so dominant. And there's a few reasons that it's so dominant. So unlike the three that I've covered so far, I've covered Hypno, Skarmory, and Azumarill. And all three of them had low attack stats, lower-ish attack stats with higher defense and stamina, put it over the 2000 overall stat product. Sableye is the first one where it does not meet that criteria. So 121 attack, 123 defense, 124 stamina. Very 1853 overall. So below that sort of over the 2000 stat product that I talk about that I normally look at. Two things that make this okay. The first is I actually really like this balance, right? The problem is like if you want to look at like glass cannons, like Surfetch or something. Let's just go Surfetch as glass cannon because I know that for sure. With these type of Pokemon, you have very high attack stats, 145 here, with very low defense and stamina. So you are basically any move done to you kind of takes you out. And then on the other end, when you get into those like Azumarills that I covered the other day, you have the very low attack, 93 with super high defense and stamina, but it doesn't put on a lot of shield pressure, right? Low shield pressure. What I really like about Sableye's overall stat product is you're bulky enough to actually survive some moves, and you have a higher enough attack stat product to take out, like to threaten other Pokemon. And you see it right in the traits. Usually, all three of them that I covered so far, Hypno, Azumarill, and Skarmory, had negatives here. And on terms of the traits, there's only 3 greens and no negatives. And again, there are negatives to it, but not from like the traits category. So spammy, we'll go over so it's spammy because I'll go over the Shadow Claw and thing in a second. Actually, let's go over traits after because you need to understand the stats and everything first. I always said if you're going to be under this the 2000 overall stat product, you better have movesets to make up for it. And Sableye has the moveset to make up for it. So let's start with one of the best fast, basically Counter and Shadow Claw are two of the best fast moves in the game in terms of they're both 2-turn moves and they both have great energy per turn and damage per turn. So you have a 2-turn move with 4 energy per turn, real quick charging, and a 3.6 damage per turn because you get same type attack bonus on it. So good damage output with the claws, fast energy generation. And then we go into the charge move where at a 45 move, again, 35 is like the quickest with body slam, which is like one of the best fast charge moves in the game if you have stab on it. And then 40 is like a decent amount. And then 45 is, I think, right in that sort of like low to middle range before you start getting into like the 55 and above stuff. At 45 energy, you have not the quickest, but like a quick to decent energy charge move that is coming in at that almost 1.9 damage per energy. And I always say, like, when you see a lot of these low energy moves, like 35, 40. They're usually at like I just went over why Hypno's so bad, because it's like 40, 45 energy move is 40 energy move is like 1.38 damage per energy. So to output 84 damage at 1.87 damage per energy per move is huge for Sableye. So that's the first thing. The second thing is getting the return. So can you run Power Gem over return? No, I've actually already done a full how to when I was doing the how to build or team building series, I think I called it. When I was team building with Sableye, you should probably go check out that video too. I was team building with Sableye, like how can you use Power Gem over return? And the answer is no, because you can just see in it's two things. It's coverage and it's the damage you're outputting, right? So for 10 more energy, yes, return is a little higher energy, but 130 damage for 1.86. And that is what made it so valuable in the Great League for so long, because you would safe swap it. And I'm going to show you the Azumarill matchup coming up. You can flip if you land a return and then just go straight claws, because the claws and return combo were enough to take out an Azumarill, pending that they let the return go. And then once they let the first return go, this was back in the day, right? So this is when it wasn't as bulky. Now I think you need probably a little more than one foul play. But back in the day when it wasn't as bulky, you can go land a return and then just go Shadow Claw foul play for the rest of it and shield up and flip switch there. And that's what made it always so strong. It's one that can flip switch in a lot of matchups, and that's one of the ways I would use it. The second thing we're going to look at here is, I just want to make sure, okay, sorry. What we're going to look at here is the typing. And this is a fantastic typing combo. Dark Ghost gives you only one weakness, and that is Fairy, because a lot of the dual typing here counter each other out. So Ghost is weak to Ghost, but Ghost is weak to Ghost and Dark, but you have the Dark to take away that issue. And then Dark is weak to fighting, but then Ghost neutralizes that to an extent that that's actually resisted. So you only actually have one weakness with Sableye, and that is Fairy, which is huge, right? So when you only need to watch out for one typing, it's a huge plus. Now, you don't have like a huge amount of resistances, and like I said, so you double resist Psychic, which is whatever, there's not a lot of Psychic. Double resist Normal, which is good for like the Body Slam, like I'm using it. I just used it yesterday, I showcased it yesterday in Jungle Cup, resisting the Body Slams 2 times. And then Lickitung, and obviously, Lickitung's going to be a bad matchup anyways, but you can resist Lickitung's Body Slam as well. And then single resist Poison, and then the more important one, single resist the fighters, right? So you're resisting the fighting move. So back in the day, that's not the right one. Let's move this over here. Back in the day, when you had a bunch of Pokemon that were not super bulky, you did very, very well as a safe swap. You were probably Umbreon and Sableye, some of the OG safe swaps. And so you can see 6 and 7 record is not amazing, and 526 overall average. And again, this is the problem with PV Poke rankings, and this is the problem where you need to know how to use the Pokemon and what it says on paper versus in real life. So what it says on paper is actually not bad. 6 and 7 and 526. Even some of the darks, Shiftry there, Umbreon 367, and that's what I think the biggest strength is. So even in, again, you're never going to use it in this scenario, but even in even shield scenario with even energies, these losses are not the worst. And these are fairies, these are darks, these are your hardest sort of answers, and you're still getting at the 300 range, which is amazing, because stuff like Skarmory, like I said, like when you get against a Lantern, is like 130 something. It's such a hard loss, and it's extremely detrimental to your matchup, because if you're at like 130, 200 loss, 200 like score here, that basically means not only is your Pokemon going to get killed in that matchup, realistically your opponent's going to come out with a bunch of energy on that Pokemon. Whereas in this scenario, like you're going to lose, but you're going to chip a ton just in these scenarios. And again, this is not how, and I don't know why they don't, I know you can use the options, and that's why I did the single matchup here against, this is why I did the single matchup against Azumarill here. So if you run just the basic analysis, even baiting a return, even beating a foul play with one return, you cannot beat Sableye because they would bait Ice Beam. You have to shield too. However, if in the 2 shield, one of two things happen. If in the 2 shield you got the bait off twice, you would flip this matchup with the return, right? And that's what happened a lot back in the day. You could, if you landed a return, you didn't need to land anything else because the claw damage, and this is why the Shadow Claw is so valuable to this Pokemon, the claw damage did enough, right? So on the Azumarill back in the day, return only did 38% damage, which is not insignificant. But these claws at 5 damage per turn coming really, really quick really add up over the long term. So if you got a couple things, so if you got the return off or they shield a foul play and then you got return off, you could easily flip the Azumarill matchup because the claws added up. And a lot of the time what these analysis don't show, and I can't do it here for some reason, you used to be able to throw options up for, I know you can do it on the single, but you can't really do it in the matrix, is what happens with, maybe it's under the multi, is what happens when you have a claw advantage. So that's the thing. I have a video where Sableye is being used as a closer, but I think like 95% of the time you're using it as a safe swap. And when you use it as a safe swap, a lot of the times, one or two things is happening. You're not just always doing it in the 1 shield, and you have an energy advantage, right? So by the time, unless they like instant swap and you can only get like 1 claw through, a lot of times you're probably 2-3 claws ahead before they make that switch into a Pokemon to try and deal with it. And getting 2 to 3 ahead when foul play is such a hard-hitting quick move, right? So basically it's a 4 energy per turn, which means it's giving you 8 energy per claw. If you get 2, 3, that's 16 or 24 energy, you're already more than halfway to the foul play. And now you're starting to output damage here on the foul play. So that is why I think it makes it so strong. And if you look at the sort of, if you look at the sims here, a 15, this is the current meta, 15, 22, and 4, 455. You look at that on paper and then you look at 66 ranking. It's like, why would I use this Pokemon? Well, it's like, you can't just, again, PvP Poke, I love PvP Poke. It is so strong. I think PvP Poke and content creators are the two things that define the meta in GBL. And PvP Poke is pretty accurate across the board. But again, it's a simulation in a very certain circumstances. It's a simulation of even energy, even shield, 1 shield scenario. And that's not how you use Sableye. You use it with a shield advantage, or you can use it as a closer, or you can use it to grab shields, stuff like that. So I look at this 15 and 22 record and like say, I don't care about that as much. And when you want to look at, maybe I'll pull it up in the multi so it's a little easier to look at here. Oh yeah, here it is in the multi. So in the multi, 15-24 record, you throw 1 claw advantage, 15 and 24 becomes 20-19, right? You use this as a safe swap and you just got 1 claw through. In the 1 shield scenario, you just, let's go back because even the average is crazy how much it jumped. So 0 shield scenario, 15, 24 to 451 battle average. 1 Shadow Claw advantage as a safe swap, just 1, flips you to 20 wins, 19 losses, 2 ties, and a 500 average. You just bumped your average by 50. That is not an inconsequential amount. And I'm guessing if you have 2 shields, 2 claws, probably a bit more. So 20 up to 23 and 17. Again, you're probably not going to get 3 claws, but let's just see just for fun. Up to 30 and 11. And this is what makes Sableye so deadly. Yes, you're going to lose to the fairies. You're going to have a crap time against the darks, right? We know that. And the normal typing is like Lickitung that resists your claws. there's not much you can do about that. There's not much you can do about that. But in every other scenario where you're now getting a couple claws advantage, you're now flipping those matchups against Registeel, Lantern, for Alligator, Dugong. Like, these are matchups that you probably otherwise lose in an even shield, even energy scenario that you are now winning in the energy advantage scenario. And that is why I love Sableye. Yes, you can get super hard punished. Again, how often? Wiggly, Ninetales, Guzzlord, Mandibuzz. It's not like these are not around. I don't want to say they're not around. But for the most part, if you had to say, hey, which four are around more? Wiggly, Ninetales, Guzzlord, or Mandibuzz? Or Lantern, Sandslash, Vigoroth, Feraligatr, Cresselia, like Gligar. Like, this is the meta. This is the meta that you can flip, right? And that's the meta for the Open Great League. And that's why I really, really like it. So, couple battles here. One from a team that's actually going to be coming up probably Saturday, because that's from earlier in the season. I call it a go-to team. Whiscash, Sableye, Togedemaru. So this one I think I use it more of as a closer to actually close it out here. And the second battle is going to be how just using your energy advantage, and I'll like stop it during the battles and kind of go through my thought process and why it's so strong. And the second one is going to be how I am willing to commit a 2 shield to flip switch, and flipping switch is so beneficial with a lot of these balanced teams. So let's look at some of the battles here. Skarmory versus Whiscash. So I'm just going to stay in this matchup probably. Again, this has happened a long time ago, so I don't know, but I would assume I'd stay in. I throw the Scald. And I have Togedemaru on the team, so I would not be surprised if I just take any sort of Brave Bird here without using a shield. Take a Sky Attack, take a Brave Bird. That's fine. I'm not going to throw it because they're going to reset. Okay, I'm going to throw. I thought they would reset, but they are not. So get this off. This would take out. And at this point, I can let this go and come Togedemaru, shield advantage to farm. So that's fine. I'm going to take this. They're going to have an answer for Togedemaru in the back, 100%. They're going to have an answer for an electric. I'm shielding. Okay, that's interesting. I'm shielding. I don't need to shield. I'm shielding knowing that Brave Bird would take this down. So there's your Whiscash. I'm still going to chip here. And now here we go. I'm going to chip this to like 60%. And here comes Sableye to deal with the rest of this. So the claws, I'm almost out of foul play. I'm going to shield the Skull just because this is a shadow. And now we're met with the Gligar. So I've got a terrible Whiscash Gligar combo. But because I had like four claws there, that allowed me to get so far ahead on energy. And because the claws are adding up a ton here, I can now go. They probably should have thrown double Aerial Ace. They maybe thought they would take out. Maybe from a shadow it would. But now I can go foul play there, takes it out, get the foul play off here as well to force this last shield. And now I can come and snipe with Togedemaru to take out the rest here. So, and that comes down to just that truly just showcased the spamminess of the foul plays in neutral matchups, right? You have even shield scenario. No, even shield scenario, yeah. I'm behind on energy on the Whiscash, but then I got so far ahead on energy on the Gligar. And because these claws and foul plays do so well in neutral situations, with that energy advantage, I'm able to flip, grab shields, take out the Gligar, grab the last shield on Whiscash, one shot with what's even a resisted move with Togedemaru. This one's one I just showcased maybe the other day. Terrible lead. So we're going to stay soft Sableye. They are not getting out right away, which is okay. We will take this move. We're already 5 claws ahead, right? And so now I have Trevenant in the back. So I have Trevenant, out comes a Mantine. I need to flip switch here. I cannot have an electric ground on my poison. I need my grass on it. So at this point, even though I've taken a move, I have so many claws advantage. My mindset is already fight for switch, even if I need to choose shield here. So that is exactly what we're going to do. we are going to start launching these foul plays, and these claws are going to start up. So they're probably going to let this first one go. I would not be surprised if I shield this. I do. And they actually go straight Ice Beam, which again is very helpful. They probably could just go Air Lace at this point. But because they go there, I can now just go, here's the second foul play. I'm almost at a third. And it does not quite take out. Mantine's pretty tanky. I don't care. I'm committing to doing what Sableye needs to do, and that is flip switch in a matchup that is otherwise crap for me. So I'm flipping switch here. I'll have some energy coming out, so I can threaten, again, with some damage here. So I'll threaten damage here. They come in with a Vigoroth. Here comes the foul play. So this will chip. I end up getting farmed down, but that's okay. I've thrown multiple foul plays, and I now took this down to 50% health. This is essentially useless. I now just flip switch. Here's your alignment. So I'm down 2 shields, but now I have such good alignment here. I do not need to worry about the damage. I just need to worry about getting ahead on energy. So I'm going to get ahead on energy here. Make these seed bombs. This will one-shot, so my opponent does start shielding because they want to try and save this. But I can basically just take these moves, keep ahead on energy, get this low enough, grab shields, and I will eventually win this matchup. So here comes the second seed bomb. They get a third move off, not enough to take out, and this is why I fought so hard for shield advantage. They end up catching on the Vigoroth, which is fine because I still chip this enough down. I get to the poison. I poison jab this down enough, and I'm going to come out with the Scald, and I'm going to Scald one shot. So I took what was a crappy lead, where I still took chip damage on Sableye, and I did have to 2 shield. I'm aware that I had to 2 shield. I was willing to make that 2 shield to fight for switch because switch was so important here, and I flipped this matchup. And that is essentially how I have used Sableye in the majority of my matchups. Balanced teams. The front and the back Pokemon cover each other's weaknesses. The front and the back Pokemon cover each other's weaknesses, and you flip switch when you can. So a couple other things with Sableye. We'll go over the traits and we'll go over team building here. Yes, spammy. So spammy, dynamic, and shield pressure. So reaches, charge, moves quickly. I've talked about that. Shadow Claw, basically 8 energy per claw, and you only need 6 to get to the first foul play. So the numbers are there, 6, 6, 5 for the foul plays, which is pretty quick for a move that's doing like 1.87 damage per turn. Dynamic, performs well with energy and has fluid dynamic matchups, and that is exactly what I just kind of showcased here. When you have, I showed in this matrix, not this one. I showed right here what happens when you are at 0 energy, right? 15 and 24 to 1 claw advantage, 20 and 19 to 2 claw advantage, 23 and 17. And that is what makes you dynamic. You perform well with energy, and your matchups are fluid enough to work around it, right? It's not like Skarmory going against a Steel. It's not like Skarmory going against Lantern. Even some of these fairy matchups, you can land, like you can flip a Azumarill if you land the return. You're probably not going to flip something like Wigglytuff, like that's just going to be a loss, but you can chip with return in these matchups. And then shield pressure. Pressures opponents to shield its strong or rapid attacks, and that's the thing. And that comes back to this stat product right here. Like enough balance to live moves, but enough attack to actually cause your opponent's pressure. So sometimes, like when I use balanced teams, I often do try to like flip switch with Sableye, but there are times that maybe you can just like grab shield advantage and then go down and then come back in with your first Pokemon and then try and have your back Pokemon with a shield advantage in the ending. Like that is a way to use Sableye. So if you're going to so they do give team build ideas, but as you can see, they're all pretty just safe general Pokemon. And that's the thing with Sableye. Cover your fairy weakness. I think that's an obvious. Cover the norm. A couple of the darks that are going to cause you a bit. Like I don't love Cresselia because then that makes you double weak. Like dark is going to be an issue. I don't even like Lickitung quite honestly either because then you're doing double ghost moves as your fast moves. So I don't like these suggested teammates. Azumarill, is decent because Azumarill will beat the darks that you're going to have problems with, and it will do fine against fairies as well. So something like that is probably how I would team build with this. But for the most part, how I'm team building with Sableye is I'm using this as a safe swap. I've got balanced front and back. So like that team was Whiscash, Togedemaru, which you're going to see on Saturday. So basically Whiscash is weak to grass. Togedemaru doesn't fully answer grass, but it's a steel that does answer grass. And then Sableye as your safe swap to try and flip switch or grab shields or do that stuff like that. So I really like Sableye. I do think it's not accurately represented in the scores here. It probably has a better score as a switch, quite honestly. Yeah, so it jumps up to number 9 as a switch, which is, again, not surprising given that that's exactly kind of its role. It's ranked number 9. I actually would say it should be better ranked as a safe swap. So switches. So I guess it's 9 with 2 for alligators. For alligators, very, very strong as safe swap. So for alligator, Gligar, Annihilate, Lickitung. Gudra's good, but I wouldn't say it's better. Cresselia is good. I wouldn't say it's better. Poliwrath, Poliwrath, you can make an argument that it's pretty decent too. So I don't mind. Maybe Annihilate, I would put Sableye ahead. So I don't mind this list overall, but I would put Sableye ahead of Cresselia, ahead of Gudra as a safe swap. And I'd even use it ahead of Annihilate, quite honestly. But yes, for Alligator, Poliwrath, Gligar, all great safe swaps. But Sableye is an amazing safe swap as well. So that is Sableye. For me, I say it's always a winner because I have always had success with it, because in a lot of those matchups where you think you are out of it, you're never out of it, because there could potentially not always, but there's a lot of different outs with Sableye, right? With that energy advantage, you know you can flip a bunch of matchups. With going to the 2 shield, you can probably flip more matchups as well. I didn't even look at the 2 shield here. So let's see. Did I reset this? No, I did not. Let's go down to the 0 here. 15 and 24. Let's see what happens in the 2 shield. Okay, you get 1 in the 2 shield, and I'm guessing then you same thing. Once you add in a claw here and there, you're just going to jump up. So 16, 23. In the 2 shield, and this is why I love it. This is why I love it. In the 2 shield scenario, 16 and 25 record, 1 claw. 1 claw is a safe swap, committing to the 2 shield matchup. 16 and 25 to 23 and 18. What did I say? 16 and 25? So 7. You just flipped 7 matchups by getting 1 claw and deciding to take this to the 2 shield. And same thing, another 4. 4? What did I say? I forget what the other number was. And a few more by doing 2 claw advantage and taking it to the 2 shield. And that's the thing. Like, this is what makes it so great for me. And again, look at that win. It's not just the wins, losses. It's the spread here. Yes. Wiggly, Umbreon, Ninetales, Mandos, you're not going to do anything against them. But even some of these like secondary losses, actually, it's interesting in the 1 shield. The 2 shields are actually worse against some of these other spammier Pokemon, right? Because for Alligator with these Hydros are going to come so quick. So that's even worse because that's going to outpace you. But on the 1 shield, it's sort of a more average distribution here. So even though you got some losses in the even, Steven, or is just 1 shield? Couple shield advantage. And no, that can't be a couple shield advantage. I think I need to reset this, but anyways, that's just the power of Sableye as a safe swap. So that is Sableye, one of the better Pokemon from the start. Used as a safe swap from the beginning. Used as a safe swap now. Whenever I need to grind rating in Great League, I'm always going to Sableye. I probably put that in the thumbnail today. Always a winner for me. It always helps me push towards Legend, and that is just the flexibility that it provides. So that is it for Sableye. Let me know what you want next. I'll probably take a break with these until next week. because tomorrow is league turnover, and it is Great League, Ultra League, and Master League. So probably put out top Great League and Ultra League teams, and then it's the weekend. Not a ton of people watch on the weekends. Maybe I'll put out one on the weekend. We'll see. But it's Great League and Ultra League, so I feel like a lot of people will be looking for Great League and Ultra League teams. I got at least one more Great League team I can showcase, and that's the Sableye one. So you're gonna see that tomorrow on Saturday. So then we'll put a couple other Great League teams, and then yeah, maybe next week we'll do like a Great League with a few more of these during the week. So that is my plan. So drop in the comments below what other Pokemon you want to see. Anyways, that is it. Glad you're liking these. I'm enjoying doing these. They're fun. Like fun to actually do because it's like a mixture of both looking back at going down memory lane, looking back at like why Pokemon were so strong, versus also now understanding what makes them still very strong in this current meta. So that's why I like this. Anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.